Call of Duty Black Ops 2 in the year 2020. It's crazy to think it's been 8 years already. We're actually closer to 2025 than we are to the release of Black Ops 2 in 2012. So very soon, Black Ops 2 will no longer be a futuristic Call of Duty. It will be a modern military shooter. It's just crazy to think that. But yeah, Black Ops 2 is one of the most beloved games in the Call of Duty series, and I'm happy to report that Black Ops 2 is actually really fun to play 8 years later. Now, that hasn't always been the case. Anyone who's been trying to come back to this game recently knows that we've had a huge hacker problem, especially on the consoles. Oh my god. Every lobby you got into was hacked to the point where you couldn't really enjoy yourself. Everyone was aimbotting, invisibility, invincibility, everything. And it was awful. But recently, the game was actually fixed, which I didn't think would ever happen. Because, think about it, Treyarch doesn't really have any financial incentive to fix a game that came out 8 years ago. But, sure enough, the game got patched, and they pretty much killed theater mode. But I don't think anyone's going to cry about theater mode for an 8-year-old game. Just the fact that it's playable and you can still enjoy yourself in it, it's more than I can ask for. Because there are a lot of Call of Duties, especially the ones that have come out recently, that don't even have a theater mode. So, yeah, you can't really play recent games in theater mode. You can't really use it. They pretty much got rid of theater mode, more or less. You can't really use theater mode. And they did that because that's where most of the hacks were coming from. They were infection lobby hacks. And the reason where the infections were coming from, they were coming from clips in theater mode. So you downloaded the theater from somebody, whoever, on the Black Ops 2 community thing, and when you downloaded it, it would actually download an infection onto your system, and you'd get all these hacks. It was so easy. It was as easy as downloading someone's clip in theater mode. So the fact that they finally got rid of it and patched it, it's really good, because I've been playing some games lately, and I had no problem with hackers. I didn't run into a single hacker in this game, and that's just incredible. I haven't been able to say that for a couple years. And the weird thing is that when I played this game on Xbox One, when it first became backwards compatible about 2 years ago, I think it was, the game had like 100,000 players. Everyone was playing this game, and I had no problem when it came to hacking and anything like that. But for some reason, recently, like I'd say like since about a year ago, I mean, there have always been hackers in Black Ops 2. You've had lag switchers, you've had aimbots, you've had that since the game was in its prime. So this isn't a new thing, but it really started to become a problem like about a year ago. But for some reason, Treyarch decided, I mean, maybe it wasn't even Treyarch, maybe it was just a couple people at Activision that just decided, okay, we're just going to get rid of theater mode and call it a patch, right? But either way, it works. And the game is no longer hacked to shit. And yeah, I'm cheesing with the Target Finder LMG. It is what it is. I don't have the grenade launcher unlocked yet because I am Mr. NoobTube Gamer, and I love using my grenade launcher, but the Target Finder LMG will do good for now. And it's not that I didn't play this game back then. It's because I'm running a new account now, so that's why I'm a level 9, and I'm not like, max prestige or something like that. Because my old account, I don't use anymore, so that's why it looks like I'm new to the game, but I'm really not. I have very fond memories with this game. This is definitely my third favorite Call of Duty game. I'm very comfortable saying that. My first being Call of Duty Black Ops 1, and number 2 is MW2. So, I mean, a lot of people consider Black Ops 2 to be the greatest Call of Duty, and for a lot of people, this was their first Call of Duty game. And this really was, for a lot of people, the tipping point in the Call of Duty franchise. A lot of people consider Ghost to be the beginning of the downfall of the Call of Duty series. Now, I'm not going to comment that much about that. I'm going to comment more about the playability of the game 8 years later, and if it aged well, if it holds up well, and I really shouldn't have died. Oh man, that was just me being really stupid. But I have to say, the maps are amazing. I'm playing with DLC, by the way, and I have no problem finding a match. I think the player count on the Xbox had around 4,000 people on a weekend, which, it isn't as much as it was even like 2 years ago, because it had like 100,000 people playing Black Ops 2. But I think a lot of people were turned away by the hackers and just gave up playing, which makes a lot of sense. And maybe some people are into Modern Warfare. Maybe they even got into Black Ops 4 ever since. But Black Ops 4 is honestly not too great of a Call of Duty game in my opinion, but whatever. But yeah, you got the trick shotters, you got the quick scopers, and everything that you remember from back then is still very much alive in Black Ops 2. And it really is a fun time going back and playing it after all these years, because it makes you think about, wow, how much the Call of Duty franchise has changed over the years, because Call of Duty usually gets that reputation of just being recycled year after year after year. But if you compare Black Ops 2 to Modern Warfare, I mean, those two games are fundamentally different. I mean, you're not going to find too many comparisons between those two games, really. So, yeah, the Call of Duty franchise has definitely come a long way over the years, for better or worse. It's definitely changed a lot. But Black Ops 2, if you've never played this game before, I highly recommend that you do. If you're a big Zombies fan, that alone is worth Black Ops 2. I mean, there are a couple of maps and like Transit, it's hit or miss, but Zombies is great. The multiplayer is fantastic with or without the DLC. But I think it's even better with the DLC because this map, Studio, of course, most people would recognize it as Firing Range. It's a reimagined version of Firing Range in a Hollywood movie studio. So you have a lot of remakes, but you also have a lot of great original maps on the DLC and in the base game. There are really only one or two bad maps in the game. Most of them are really, really good. So this really was the last Call of Duty game to have consistently amazing maps, because you have games like Ghosts and Advanced Warfare where you only can really think of like one or two really good Call of Duty maps in that game. So yeah, and the weapons, the balancing in the weapons were great. No supply drops. You have custom camos that you can pay for like $1, $2. I bought a couple of those over the years because I thought it was worth it. It's definitely a lot better than the current system where, oh yeah, you have supply drops and you may or may not get the camo that you want, which I just hate. So yeah, if you want to go back to a time where Call of Duty didn't have supply drops, where it didn't have all this crazy monetization in it, and it was just straight up first-person shooter game, no pay to win. There weren't really good weapons locked behind supply drops. There are no supply drops in Black Ops 2. So that's something that I really like. But yeah, I mean, I love everything about Black Ops 2. I think it is definitely one of the greatest Call of Duty games. One of the first to have score streaks also. It was the first Call of Duty with score streaks, which is really, I think it really did a lot of good for the franchise. And the Pick 10 system, I mean, there's so many amazing things that we got from Black Ops 2 that are kind of now definitive features of the Call of Duty series. So if not for anything else, if you're really big into history and you're new to the franchise, you weren't around back then, because 8 years is a really long time. So even if you're like 16 years old right now, you were like 8 when Black Ops 2 came out. I mean, I guess a lot of you were 8 years old when you first started playing Call of Duty, but you know what I mean. Like, it's a long time has passed, and if not for anything else, the history of the game, appreciate how much Black Ops 2 has contributed to the series, and it does hold up very well. Like, this game does not feel old. Like, not as old as like Call of Duty 4 or World at War. Like, the gameplay holds up very well. It holds up better than Black Ops 1 in my opinion, and Black Ops 1 I will consider to be my favorite Call of Duty. But yeah, Black Ops 2 is an awesome game, and it's still popping 8 years later. I had no problem finding a TDM match with DLC. You can even find a game of domination, and occasionally search and destroy, and you'll always find a game of free-for-all. And party games also are still, you still have lobbies filled up here and there, but it's not as big as it used to, obviously. But overall, Black Ops 2 is awesome. The campaign is amazing, which I forgot to mention. Everything about this game is awesome. It's one of the greatest Call of Duty games of all time. If you haven't played it yet, I highly recommend that you do. And there are no more hackers, which is the best part of it all. So it's not as frustrating as it was like a year ago when it was just filled with hackers and you had no enjoyment out of that. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about Black Ops 2. Is it one of your favorite Call of Duties? Have you played it before? Are you thinking about playing it now? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all later. Bye.